They don't punish you for being cruel, they punish you for caring. That's what makes narcissistic control so effective. It doesn't attack your darkness, it attacks your light. They find your kindness, your empathy, your desire to understand, and they turn those very qualities into weapons against you. And you don't even notice it happening. You start apologizing for emotions that were never wrong. You start defending yourself for caring too much. You start explaining why you tried to help. And the more you try to prove your goodness, the more guilty you feel. Because in their world, guilt is the leash. The moment you feel it, they know they've won. Narcissists don't need to scream or threaten, they just have to make you question the purity of your own heart. In this video, you're going to see how that guilt is built, how emotional predators turn empathy into obedience, and why the people who care the most are often the ones who suffer the longest. Stay with me, because once you understand the trap, you'll never apologize for your empathy again. It doesn't start with anger, it starts with disappointment. You say something honest, and they sigh. You set a boundary, and they go quiet. You try to care, and somehow it's never enough. That's how narcissists begin their favorite game, emotional inversion. They take your empathy, your instinct to connect, and twist it until caring feels like a crime. You ask if they're okay, and they say, "I'm fine," with a tone that tells you you're not. You offer help and they say, "You don't need to fix me." You give love and they accuse you of being controlling. Suddenly your kindness feels invasive, your compassion feels wrong, and every attempt to make things better only makes you feel worse. That's the genius of their design. They don't need to reject your care, they just need to make you doubt it. Once guilt enters, empathy turns against you. You begin walking on eggshells, editing your warmth, second-guessing your intentions. You try to love them the right way, a way that doesn't upset them. But that way doesn't exist. Because what they want isn't your love, it's your self-doubt. Narcissists understand something most people never notice, that empathy can be used as a leash. They don't take control by force, they take it through emotional debt. The moment you start caring, they study how far your compassion can stretch. They test your limits slowly, one guilt trip at a time. They might say they feel misunderstood, so you listen harder. They say you're the only one who truly gets them, so you give more of yourself. And then, when you finally express a need of your own, they pull away. That withdrawal isn't an accident, it's training. Your brain panics because the connection suddenly feels threatened. And to restore it, you rush to fix whatever went wrong, even if you didn't cause it. That's how they create the loop. You comfort them. They reward you. You disagree. They distance themselves. Your mind begins to associate guilt with love and tension with safety. Before long, you start apologizing for things that aren't your fault just to bring peace back into the room. And every time you do, you reinforce the pattern. It's a psychological trade, your empathy for their approval. The more you care, the more control they gain. And what makes it so dangerous is that it feels like love. You don't see yourself being manipulated. You see yourself being kind. You convince yourself that real love means patience, understanding, forgiveness. But in their world, those words have different meanings. Patience means endurance. Understanding means silence. Forgiveness means submission. That's how they take your greatest strength and turn it into a cage you built with your own hands. Guilt is the narcissist's most reliable weapon. It's invisible, quiet, and completely self-sustaining. They don't have to tell you what to do. They just have to make you feel responsible for how they feel. When they act distant, you wonder what you did wrong. When they look disappointed, you scramble to fix it. When they're upset, you apologize first, even if you don't know why. That's not empathy anymore. That's conditioning. The human brain is wired to avoid guilt because guilt feels like rejection. It activates the same fear centers that light up when we're abandoned. Narcissists know this. They use it to keep you under control without ever raising their voice. They'll say things like, "I just expected more from you," or "I wouldn't have reacted that way if you cared about me." Each phrase plants a seed, a tiny emotional hook that pulls at your conscience. You start trying to prove your good intentions. You explain, you clarify, you justify. And every time you do, you hand over more emotional power. That's the trap. Guilt makes you believe that peace comes from pleasing them. You forget that real peace doesn't require permission. They know that as long as you feel responsible for their pain, you'll keep playing by their rules. You'll avoid conflict. You'll sacrifice your needs. You'll chase a balance that never existed. It's not about love anymore. It's about control through conscience. And the cruelest part is this: you end up believing you're the problem, when all along you were just the one who cared the most. Every manipulative relationship runs on a loop, and narcissists are masters at keeping it alive. The pattern always follows the same rhythm: guilt, reconciliation, reward. It starts when they pull away after a conflict. The silence is heavy, the distance unbearable. You can feel your mind spiraling, desperate to fix what went wrong. That's the first stage, emotional withdrawal. Then just when you're about to give up, they soften. They smile again, send a message, or act as if nothing happened. That's reconciliation, the illusion of safety returning, and your brain rewards you for it. Dopamine floods your system, turning relief into attachment. You feel peace, but it isn't peace. It's dependency disguised as love. They know exactly what they're doing. They make you chase the calm they can take away at any time. They let you believe the storm is over, when in reality, it's the calm before the next manipulation. That's the loop: conflict, guilt, comfort. Each cycle deepens your emotional bond and weakens your ability to see clearly. You start living for those brief moments when everything feels okay again. Moments that only exist because they created the chaos in the first place. Eventually, your nervous system doesn't even need their words, just their tone, their silence, their glance, to react. You're trained to anticipate their moods, to read their mind, to carry their emotions like your own. And that's the final stage of control, when you no longer need to be manipulated because the manipulator lives inside you. Narcissists don't destroy your kindness. They reshape it until it serves them. They make you believe that caring too much is the problem, that your empathy is the reason everything goes wrong. But that's not true. Your empathy isn't weakness. It's power. It only becomes dangerous when it's used against you. You can care deeply without being controlled. You can love without losing yourself. But it begins the moment you stop apologizing for your emotions. Every time you feel guilty for doing the right thing, pause. Ask yourself, who taught me that kindness needs permission? That question alone breaks the spell. Because the truth is, people who love you don't make you earn their peace. They don't punish you for feeling. They don't turn your empathy into a debt you can never repay. Real connection doesn't drain you, it restores you. And when you learn to give without guilt, you'll finally understand the kind of love that narcissists can't imitate. Love rooted in freedom. You were never wrong for caring. You were just caring in the wrong direction. Now you know better. And that's where control ends and healing begins. Subscribe to the channel and don't stop at this video. They're still using tricks you haven't noticed yet. The next video will show you exactly how they do it. And once you see it, you'll never see people the same way again.